Alright, since I know there's a new version, we're going to go ahead and start this. Hey guys, how you doing? GuanYu007 here, and I'm here with another tutorial. This is going to be a quick tutorial because I want to go ahead and test two games out on the new Cemu. So we're going to go ahead and get these things ready. Right now you've seen gameplay of Breath of the Wild, and stepping outside. I'm really happy about this new Cemu update or upgrade. I think it's more of an upgrade than an update, but let's hope that it's going to be better than the current Cemu itself. Never really get tired of seeing the world of Zelda. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get started. Put my controller down. And let's get into this. So the first things you're going to need is you're going to need the Cemu emulator, which is going to be a page that looks like this. Links will be down in the description, so just follow along. You're going to need CemuHook, which is the plugin for Cemu. You're going to need the updated graphics packs, which is going to be links down in the description. And you're going to need the 100% shader cache, definitely for Breath of the Wild. For other games, you don't really need a different shader cache, such as Monster Hunter. But you can go ahead and start your own shader cache. So let's go ahead and try to make this as fast as possible. See if we can go ahead and try and beat these long ass videos that I've always made. But I know the first thing that's going to happen is when I start transferring stuff. So let's go into downloads, because I've already downloaded all of these things. Select all and pull them out. Alright, the first thing we're going to want to do, we're going to take our Cemu. We're going to extract here. We're going to take our other Cemu. Let's see this Cemu folder here. We're going to take our previous Cemu and bring that up. And let's open both folders, shall we? Alright, so what we're looking at is the new version and the old version. First thing you're going to want to do, if you want to cut out a lot of, and I'm basically doing this for a lot of regular Cemu users. And by the way, when you're watching Breath of the Wild content, what you're watching is content from version 114. I believe it's version 114 or 112. Go ahead and check my notes before I go any further. Okay, yes, version 112, which is version in the game, I believe, 131. Correct me if I'm wrong, or we're going to see that a little bit later. So the first thing you want to do is when you're switching over is you're going to select all of your regular folders right here, copy, and paste over. And this is possibly the longer of the processes that you're going to see. However, if you are new to Cemu, what you would only need to do is you're going to just go open up your regular Cemu. Just stay there for a while. Again, this is one of the longer processes in the transferring your data, especially if you're an old Cemu user, which a lot of people would still be old Cemu users. But for those who are just getting into the Cemu emulation or whatnot, then you're going to have to just wait a little while before I install the graphics packs, the shader cache, and the CemuHook itself. Again, I'm just going to apply this tutorial as more so for returning people who are already using Cemu. So I'm going to go ahead and look through my notes, and while this is applying, we're going to talk about the new update, which is 1.3.4, which is also known as version 160. From what I know, a lot of version 160 is kind of broken, but is being fixed as it is. And the reason why I'm staying on version 1.12 is because version 1.3, or excuse me, version 1.44 was kind of a Nintendo fuck up. Something was wrong with it per se, and they decided to go ahead and release another patch. I'm not going to touch the new patch until I can have 100% confidence that Nintendo didn't fuck it up. Now, I have the game on Wii U itself. That's my case. And actually, the game is in the freaking the game is actually in the Wii U. And I can go ahead and tell you, it's no matter if you get it for Wii U or Switch, the game is definitely a must buy. If you have not bought this game and you are emulating it, you're really missing out on a lot of content within the game itself. The only reason why I'm emulating it is because I like to play with other toys, such as the Breath of the Wild editor, the graphics packs that you can apply to it, basically just wanting to run it at the best it can be. Now, for the actual game itself on the Wii U, it is, again, comes standard as 720p. It is a phenomenal game for what it is. The only problems that you're going to face is, of course, you have a lot of well, not a lot of frame stutter, but you're going to have lower frame rates in certain areas in villages and towns. But because this is the game that is emulated or being emulated, then I believe this is raw code. Since it's happening within the actual physical release, the ripped version that you're ripping from your disc to your PC is going to have some of the standard problems regardless. So all we can do is try to fix as much as possible that Nintendo isn't fixing right now. As for the emulation front, the reason why I wanted to make sure to try the new Cemu version, I've heard a lot of good things, such as the frame rate boost within towns. I'm not sure if that's true or not. But more so, I want to make sure that the black flickering screen for Monster Hunter, another game that I own, is gone. And as going in and reading a lot of Reddit posts and posts from Complaining Gamer and BSOD about how the upgrade is okay, it's great, it's definitely welcomed, and you would want to go ahead and download it, I'm convinced that I should go ahead and check it out, and of course make sure the rest of you guys check it out as well. So aside from that, how have you guys been? Just set my phone in the cradle. Have you guys been doing good? What's happening in your guys' life? And by the way, I realize I've had a couple of questions that I haven't answered or haven't been able to quote unquote answer, such as certain issues and controllers of my other videos or whatnot. And the reason why I haven't is because I mainly stick with a PS4 controller, considering I still have a very old PS4 console. So I have a couple of PS4 controllers lying around. I believe there was a issue with one of the posters saying that their PS3 controller wasn't working. But then I think he said later on down the line he realized that his keyboard and mouse wasn't working either. So I think something is up with Cemu, or something has changed within the logs of Cemu itself. And that's not uncommon. A lot of the things that we enjoy in Cemu sometimes is broken with new Cemus that come out. Let's see, Cemu is a mixed bag. Because it's an emulator that is made by a emulator team, if you want to call them a dev team, you can. I'm going to call them an emulator team. Then there are things that they are chopping up, cutting out, possibly trying to make the best of what they can make it out of, let's say, the emulated space. I believe there was a video from Complaining Gamer saying that there are things within Breath of the Wild that are, there's minor, small, little minor things such as, what was it called? The spazzing out of over the land when you're in a tower sometimes, where you can see the wetlands, and it was, I believe, Z fighting, which is something that's been in games for quite some time. And I don't think it's specifically a Breath of the Wild issue. I believe it's something that has been in games since the open world genre has been around. I mean, I remember seeing it in Just Cause 3, where I when you look at the islands and you can actually see the island, the water fighting with the actual land, and you see it actually spaz out. But that's another topic for another day. So once we are done, we can just replace everything within the folders itself. We can go ahead and cut out this Cemu, get the newer version, and while I'm at it, I'm just going to take the old version, stick it back on the side as my work area, and take this version, stick this up there. So once we're done downloading all the folders, what we're going to do is we're going to take CemuHook, place it into your Cemu folder, extract here. Say yes to all. Take out CemuHook. And by the way, you always want to use the latest CemuHook. There doesn't seem to be a latest CemuHook for this version of Cemu, so everybody's going to still use the older version of CemuHook, which is just fine for right now until they make a new version, which is version 0551. Alright, now that that's done, make a new folder, get your graphics packs, stick it in the new folder, open that folder, extract your graphics packs. I already have this graphics pack, so I'm not really worried about it. Once this is extracted, go down and look for every pack that has Breath of the Wild. And by the way, just because I'm getting Breath of the Wild stuff doesn't mean you can't get other packs, or you can't take a look at other packs that aren't the games that you have. So if you have, say, what was her name? Because I just saw it, Bayonetta. If you have something for Bayonetta 2 or whatnot, you can go ahead and extract those to your new graphics packs folder. So we're going to select all the Breath of the Wild graphics packs, of course, copy. Then we're going to go to the graphics packs in Cemu. And I know I already have it. I don't need to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And we're going to paste all the graphics packs in here. I'm a big proponent of copying and pasting and not drag and dropping, because at some point you might need these folders. You might need these files in a later Cemu. And I'm also a big proponent of never tossing away a previous Cemu until another Cemu comes out, or at least a Cemu that you're very much familiar with. Alright, now that that's done, we can go ahead and close out our graphics packs. Now that we have closed, or we have upgraded a lot of the graphics packs that we see here, we can go ahead and back out to the main part of Cemu. Now we're going to take our shader cache. Now this is a 100% shader cache that I have right here, but it is not the right shader cache for the Breath of the Wild that I have. However, every Breath of the Wild works the same. I am not going to install this shader cache. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the shader cache transferable itself, and you can see the shader caches that I have. but in reality the shader cache that we need to copy over would be this one right here, which if you're new to this and you haven't ran Breath of the Wild, or you have Breath of the Wild and you don't know what you're doing, the quickest way to find your shader cache is to run the program itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up Cemu for the sake of running the program. This should go ahead and enact our key logs or keys and logs. Basically, our logs is the log of Cemu, and our keys are the activation of the key or the raw files in Cemu itself. So what we want to do is we're going to load up Breath of the Wild. Then we're going to exit out of Cemu, go into logs itself. Then we're going to look and see where our shaders and where our shader names and file names is. And here it is right here by 160246. Now this time might vary depending on where you're at. But see, you say it says shader names right here. So this is the number that you need to transfer over to your shader cache. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy that number. We're going to go back to the shader cache that we pulled from the website, and we're going to paste that number there. And that's it. And there you have a shader cache that is now built for your Breath of the Wild. So what you want to do is you're going to want to open up your shader cache, go into transferable, not precompiled, stick this shader cache in. If you already have one, you can go ahead and replace it. You don't need to. And that is it. You should be ready to go. So now we're going to go into optimization of Cemu itself. So the first thing you want to do for optimization is you want to go into Cemu, right click, go to properties. Once you go to properties, go to compatibility. Now sometimes this carries over between Cemu, sometimes it doesn't, but make sure you have Run as Administrator clicked on, Disable Full Screen Optimizations clicked on, and Override High DPI Scaling Behavior clicked on. Once these three are clicked on, make sure to click Apply, click OK. Now you're able to run this program as administrator. If you are new to Cemu, within this box up here, if you're looking where my mouse is, you should see something that says shared fonts. Make sure to hit that shared fonts. After that, we can go ahead and go into the setup of Cemu that you're going to need. So just go ahead and copy what I'm doing. Go into the debug. You can skip disable CPU extensions. Go to custom timers. Go to QPC. Make sure it's on ×1. It usually is, but make sure just in case. Go into MM timer. Make sure to set that to 1 millisecond. And that should be it in debug. NFC is for people who like to use amiibos. I don't use amiibos, so I don't use it. Help is just the about area. CPU, you don't need to touch anything in there. Everything should be fine. Memory search is kind of like cheat engine. Actually, you can use cheat engine with Cemu to make extreme values and then find out what the source is that you have. So for certain addresses within games, and then you can go ahead and start making a cheat table that you see that you can see fit to be used with any game that you're using. Now we're going to go into options, and you have full screen mode. You can click that on and off no matter what you want to do. It'll be fine. Enable VSync, again, you can click that on and off. The finch skip hack with the new FPS Plus pack, and I say new because I believe it's been there since the last Cemu. You really don't need to click this on. Once you click the FPS Plus mod itself, I said hack, I know, mod itself, this is basically turned on automatically. Graphics packs, we'll get into that a little bit later. Scaling, you want to make sure your upscale filter is at bilinear, and you can keep the always downscale with bilinear on. The full screen, you want to keep that, you want to have it keep aspect ratio, and GPU buffering, cache accuracy, you want to set that to low or fast. Separate gamepad screen is for different game views. If you're using a PS4 controller or Xbox controller, you can see a different screen or a second screen. I don't need that right now, so we're going to go ahead and click that off. Audio settings, Breath of the Wild is usually very low, so we're going to go ahead and turn that to 75%, and your channels can be anything that your PC can handle. Basically, that's up to your hardware. Next, we're going to go into gamepad motion source. I already have a motion source by slot, so we're going to go ahead and enable that. You can stick with default if you want, but if you already have a motion slot or motion controls itself, you can go ahead and rock with that. This has been out for years. I'm not sure if I should do a video on it. I might, but I got another video I need to come out with Wii U, what is it called? Wii U USB helper, and we're going to go through that a little bit later, but not right now. Next is experimental. So what you want to do is we need to unenable the Breath of the Wild crash workaround because we don't need that right now. We're going to take off use RDTSC. We're going to make sure to click that off, and we're going to click on full sync. And that's what it should look like right now in your experimental. Next, we're going to go to console region, make sure to set that to auto. And then we're going to go to console language, make sure to set that to English. Unless you speak another language, you can set it to any language you want or you see here. But defaultly, you will probably want to speak English, or set it to English if you speak English. And let's see, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead, take a look at our graphics packs we just installed. And this is basically how you enact them, of course. So activating a graphics pack is very easy. Once you have them in the graphics packs folder, you could just go ahead and take a look at your graphics packs through Cemu, select and go. So what we're going to do is we're going to select 1080p. We're going to select no anti-aliasing. We're going to select FPS++, and then we're going to select the Zelda crash workaround, which is the LWZX crash workaround. The reason why we're doing that is because we also took the crash workaround out of Cemu. Actually, I've never used that Cemu crash workaround itself, but I never had a problem with Cemu crashing with Breath of the Wild. Alright, once you have selected these, in fact, I'm going to take off the no anti-aliasing. Basically, these three is what you use as standard. Everything else is fluff. You can go ahead and use these, play with them, experiment with them as much as you want, as much as your hardware can fucking go through. So we have everything from, I think, 360p all the way up to 16K. Plus we have adjustable bloom, fog, and clarity, especially for ultra wide HDs. Alright, now that we're done, click that off. The last thing we're going to do right now is start your input, because obviously you're going to want to use a controller, a keyboard, or something to play these games. So the first thing you want to do is select input through your settings, go to the first controller, or whatever controller you want to use, and we're just going to type in DS422. We're going to go to emulate a controller that we want to do. So you have your choices. You can use Wii U Pad, Pro Controller, or Classic Controller. I'm going to use Wii U Pad. We got controller API. You can use keyboard and mouse if you want to. That's fine. You can use X input, which is the 360 controls and Xbox One controls, or you can use direct input if you're using a PS3 and PS4 control. And again, I have no experience with PS3 controllers, but I do have experience with PS4 controllers. However, from what I hear, it's kind of the same thing. So what we're going to want to do is once you select which one you have, especially if you're using PS4 controllers, you'll probably want to use a program called DS4 Windows. You can go ahead and Google it, download it, install it, follow the directions. It's very simple. It's literally 3 clicks and you're done. Once you got that down, you can go ahead and click on controller for Xbox 360 for Windows. I know it looks weird. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Once that is done, you can go ahead and start typing in your buttons, and I'm going to pull out this PS4 Pro controller, or excuse me, this Wii U Pro controller, and we're going to go through it. Just follow along with me. Alright, so A is circle. Grabbing the wrong freaking PS4 controller. Alright, there we go. So A is, oops, wrong thing. Back up. So A is circle. B is X or cross. X is triangle. Y is square. L is L1. R is R1. LZ is L2. RZ is R2. Plus is options. Minus is share. And now we're getting into the analog settings. L click is L3. L up is up. L down is down. L left is left. L right is right. R click is R3. R up is up. R down is down. R left is left. R right is right. Now we're into D-pad functionality, so we're going to press D-pad up, D-pad down, D-pad left, and D-pad right. Mic blow, you don't have to worry about that or use that. I believe you can just go ahead and use your mic if you have a headset, so leave that clear. Show screen, we can just use our actual mouse for that, so you don't have to worry about the show screen part. I know there's a lot of people that like to use their dead zones or switch them down to 7 or 10. I'm used to my dead zones being the way they are. I don't need to set them. I might play with them a little bit later, but not right now. Once you are done with this setup, all you have to do is click save. And then when next time something is fucked up with your alright, there you go. Now next time something is fucked up with your controller or whatnot, all you have to do is go to the drop down button up here in profile, hit the last profile that you had, which is for me is DS422, and load that profile, and voila, that is it for right now. So the only things we have to do is check to see if the game is running. So we're going to go ahead and load up Breath of the Wild. And always, 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 the first time you enact a new shader cache, this is always going to take longer. However, I believe it's actually moving quite fast. Anyway, so at this point in my life, I decided to go ahead and give my girl her anniversary present, which is Pokemon Ultra Moon. Now, we've had Moon and Sun for quite some time, but with Pokemon Ultra Moon, because she had Sun, she wanted to get the opposite version of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up probably later in next month pick up Ultra Sun. The reason why I'm not doing it right now is because I'm already playing way too many games. I don't have that much time anyway, and other things in real life, of course. But, time is... God, I wish I had more time in the world. I really do. I think that's probably my one complaint of being alive, is just once you start something, you just don't have time for the finer things or to sit down and to appreciate anything in the world anymore. It's kind of a reason why I haven't finished Breath of the Wild yet. I understand it is finishable, I just haven't did it yet. Well, that and the updates to CMU and the camera functionality, now that you can actually watch pictures. Alright, so now that we're done with this, it is at 99%. We're going to go ahead and see that it loads. Alright, let's see if it's a little laggy or not. Doesn't look like it. So what we're going to do is we're going to, let's go ahead and just start from the actual save spot. See how that works. And if you're looking at my side screen right there and you're going, hey, why do you have so much room? Because I actually know how to game the system. I've played this part quite some time. Not only that, I have this on Wii U, and I also have the strategy guide. Not that you need a strategy guide for this. However, some people do. Some people like to have it as collectors. A lot of my Nintendo games I've had, basically I have a lot of those strategy guides just sitting as collector's editions. And we can go ahead and see that, especially with the AA turned off. Breath of the Wild seems to be running at close to the same damn frequency it was running before, especially for frame rates. So let's test this out. Let's go ahead and run to town. Ooh, 19. Saw that. Alright, so you're probably wondering why I'm just constantly running and I'm not actually stopping. The reason why I'm constantly running and not actually stopping is because once you stop, the CPU, or yeah, your CPU function is going to try to fill in as much as possible. Instead, I wanted to actually do it while I'm running. It makes no sense to do it as much as possible when I stop. Like, certain things will break up your CPU function depending on if you're overclocking or not. And I just realized, God, this is mud texture right here. See what I mean? So now it's setting in everything. It might actually simply because I'm not using the authentic shader cache. My shader cache I had beforehand is more authentic than the one I'm using right now, which I'll probably put that shader cache back in that I have from my other Cemu. But let's see, stopping, we're looking at 28, 25. We're looking at 21, 20-ish. I haven't seen it go up to 30, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and see if that glitch is still applied here. Usually there's a glitch when, there it is. There's a glitch when you're switching your weapons that some sort of cloud just fucking engulfs you or circles you. It's a weird glitch, but I don't think that it was fixed. And actually I can see that it's not fixed. So that might be just in the game itself. It might not. Not sure. Alright, so let's go from here and go to... Let's go to Kakarika Village. Let's see how that's going to play out. They haven't fixed the teleporter glitch, I see. Alright. I see my PS4 controller mod is still working. If you're ever going to use Mapleseed or Wii U Helper, make sure to, if you're going to update, absolutely make sure to restore your functions back to normal, or you're going to have problems in the future. All right, let's see. 27, 25. $21, and that's the only thing I hate about this is because it's hard coded. That's the way it is right now for me. I really hate that. However, it's still playable. I'm not having any problems zooming in. I'm not seeing frame rate crawl or anything when I use the actual Sheikah slate. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to Dueling Peaks Tower. So we see how the performance is in the village. Let's take a look at the performance out of the village. Yeah, that looks about right. Fluctuating performance out of the village, of course. I actually might kick this up to 1440p, which won't really do anything for my system. Actually, I can kick it up to 4K. It won't tank my system at all. Once I go into 8K, it'll start slowing to a crawl, and 5K is manageable, but not too manageable. But yeah, from what it looks like, I'm getting over 30 frames per second, which is basically where you want to be outside of the villages. So, it looks like this is slightly successful. I wouldn't call it that much of a bump for me. Other systems will vary. Not really much of a bump for me in this updated Cemu, but it's a keepable thing right now. So if you want to know how to get your games or whatnot, I've already have a Mapleseed tutorial. I will work on a Wii U USB helper tutorial later. All right. The next thing I want to take a look at, while we're here, while I still have you here, and I'm hoping I'm not going over an hour with you guys. If I am, then I completely blew the reason why I'm trying to make this video as fast as fucking possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and load Monster Hunter. So I'm going to go back. Go into code. Load in RPX. Let's see what happens. And let's go ahead and use my character that I'm writing a cheat table for. Oh, okay. Alright, now for everybody who's playing Monster Hunter, I think I have good news. It looks like that black flicker in the screen is gone. Let's go ahead and open up my let's open up my task manager. Let's see, CPU, GPU bound itself. This is running at 60 frames per second, and I don't normally need the experimental part. You can use it, but you don't need it. Also, a little bit of that CPU usage is is used with my OBS. I wouldn't really worry about it. We're using less than a gig of. We're actually using a gig of RAM. I'll be damned. All right, so let's go ahead and go out into the field first before I write this off. It says 60, but I fucking swear it feels above 60. Alright. So, yeah, there is no flicker. No flicker. No artifacting. Everything seems to be in order. I mean, aside from the shadow looking kind of like shit, but you know what? It's an old Wii U game. I'll take that. I don't care. Yep, this is it. We're good. Alright. Well, I have good news for people who want to play Monster Hunter without that fucking flicker. It is gone. Alright, and that is subsequently the video. So, I hope everybody's doing a great job or having fun with the Cemu emulator as it is. It's a very good fucking emulator, I really have to say. And I believe it's because most of the focus is on Breath of the Wild. But subsequently, because the focus is on Breath of the Wild, it is making other games playable and good at the same fucking time. Which, I know I just said that. Alright. The last thing you would want to do, and this is optional, so we're just going to go ahead and do this now. We're going to want to take your, well, not the new folder. You're going to want to take the new Cemu folder, go into properties, and it's usually right here, but if it's not, go to customize, go to change icon, go to browse, and go to your new Cemu. Use the Cemu image, the new Cemu ISO image, open that, and use the clear one, of course. Apply, say OK, and there you go. Now your folder is the same image of the Cemu that you're going to use. Stick that back in your work area, and that is it for right now today. This is the tutorial, and I hope everybody has a blessed, great day. Happy holidays to a lot of you people, and make sure to go out there, see your family, tell them you love them, and you know, live life. Take it easy, guys.